Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, folks, wherever you are. Welcome to M1 Racing. Very good to be back with you on a Wednesday. Getting ready for the next round of the G-Force Racing League. And this week, we're coming to you from Qatar. But we've got some huge news today, and there's so much of it, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get through it all before we actually get the racing underway. But one of the big points is that we've actually got a pretty full grid this evening, so we're going to be having full quali before we go into the race, 50% race in Qatar. So plenty to keep us occupied for the next couple of hours here on M1 Racing, and with some returning, I believe, very significant names, as well as one or two newbies. So we welcome those, and it's great to see this league really getting back up and running again. And as I'm seeing in the driver's chat, and if you've got really eagle eyes, depending on what size of screen you're on, some of you may notice a double GFR champion has just entered the lobby in the shape of M1 Righty. Gauntlet has been laid down to Goat Ghosty. So what I normally do, as you know from previous streams, is we do a bit of a recap of last week and we'd have a look ahead. But we've got our own version of Ted Kravitz here in the G-Force Racing League in the shape of Dorling, Matt Dorling, our new roving reporter. Last week we had episode 1 of Dorling's Insights, and he's put episode 2 together for us for this week. So rather than me tell you what happened last week and look forward to this week, I'll let Matt do it for us. So over we go to Dorling's GFR Digest.
Dorling's GFR Digest.
We return this week to the sweltering night race held at the Lusail circuit in Qatar for round 5 of the G-Force Racing League. This circuit will be very demanding for our elite league, and I feel track limit penalties will play a huge part in the final results of this event. Let's see who we think may come out on the top step.
Goat Ghosty.
Goat Ghosty once again displayed dominance at round 4 at Hungary, taking pole in both sprint and qualifying and for the feature race. Following that up with 2 wins to move even further ahead in the race for the title. Goat this week moves onto a wheel, as a few of our drivers have been over the last few weeks, and once again tips himself to have an off week. We know from previous races, Goat has made the best of these situations, so we look forward to seeing what he can do at Qatar. Don't count him out.
M&D Hammer.
M&D Hammer really came out of the blocks well at Hungary last week, with sprint qualifying perhaps initially masking his true pace. Once those red lights went out, M&D Hammer was straight up to the front positions, very much keeping Goat on his toes. Can he continue this form in Qatar? We can't wait to find out. Decibes, or Jakub as he is now known, has proven this season to be a consistent contender at any type of race circuit. He showed very strong pace around a 5-lap race in our Sunday friendlies a few weeks back, and I have a hunch this circuit will yield a strong set of results, seeing Decibes challenging for the top spots. Obo again suffered some misfortune during the Hungary race week. A great launch from the grid being undone at turn 1 in a common first corner racing incident, which left him with a lot of work to do. But he showed strong race pace to haul himself back up into a strong point scoring position for his Aston Martin team. Obo, now competing in his second race on a wheel, will be looking forward to showing what he can do at Qatar to challenge those ahead. This driver had an up and down race in Hungary last week, with the sprint not going quite as well as planned. Dorling qualified well for the feature race, showing strong race pace against some of our incredibly fast drivers here at G-Force Racing. Dorling unfortunately won't be in attendance for Qatar, but we look forward to seeing this driver return back in action for round 7 at Spa in Belgium.
S7.
As mentioned in previous insights, SS7 is known for his consistent, clean driving skill, another driver who should not be discounted from the running order for Qatar. We know SS7 will have been putting in the practice to perfect that setup for Wednesday's race, to enable him to challenge for glory.
Daddy Talk.
Daddy Tonk has been getting faster and faster at each event they participate in, at one stage in the podium positions during the Hungary Grand Prix. With Qatar being a vastly different layout to that of the Hungaro ring, will we see this driver make another step and challenge those ahead? Ready to take advantage of any errors our drivers may make and propel them up the grid? Emil had a much stronger race at our last event, his second race after returning to G-Force Racing. His final finishing position perhaps not showing this, but we saw last week he was able to stay with those in the podium positions. Emil is known for keeping it clean, and this could be key at a track where we think track limit penalties will play a key part. Pankadelek seemingly had a bit of an off week at Hungary, given his strong performances from races past. Still, delivering strong points for himself in the driver standings and those for his Williams team. Qatar is a completely different beast to that of Hungary, so maybe Pankadelek can turn the tables around once again and deliver another set of strong results on Wednesday.
Matthew.
As with Daddy Tonk, Matthew is another one of our drivers who is showing strong improvement at each and every event they participate in. We know how much of a learning curve league racing can be, and to never count out anyone here at G-Force Racing. Let's see if Qatar can give this driver some confidence-inspiring results. We look forward to seeing Matthew take to the track on Wednesday.
Mac T.
We know from previous seasons, Mac T can deliver. A strength of this driver being the fact he is incredibly fast, whilst very rarely garnering any track limit penalties. Something which will certainly put him in good stead to challenge at Qatar. Mac T has so far been unable to attend a few races here with G-Force Racing, so let's see what he can do this week and whether he is able to take part in the race. Jaguarpour, as far as we can see from the official race results, did not attend at Hungary. Will the Losail circuit in Qatar suit this driver? Will he be able to contend for a podium position? We will see very soon. Jacquemus has so far joined us at GFR for just the one round, a new driver who has performed well in a league that includes some top-level drivers. We hope Jacquemus will rejoin us in the future and look forward to seeing what they can do. Hannes did not attend the Hungary Grand Prix, however we know just how strong this driver can be, especially given the fact that they are recovering from a recent operation. Hannes will no doubt be a strong bet for the podium in Qatar, and certainly one to keep an eye on. This week we welcome several new drivers to the G-Force Racing League alongside our current drivers. We can't wait to see them all out on track, fighting for top honours. With Qatar being an extremely fast-paced circuit layout, this will once again place high demands and expert driving skills on our drivers, and I'm sure we will witness another thrilling race here at GFR. We wish our drivers all the best for Wednesday's race, and if you are watching this for the first time or fancy taking part, please do follow the link to our Discord server and social channels and come and be a part of the one-of-a-kind G-Force Racing League. Let's go racing!
Dorling's GFR Digest.
Well, there you go. Once again, Matt Dorling doing his wonderful work with the words and me just putting some pretty pictures to them. But hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into the crew of drivers that's going to be out on track, plus a few others we'll talk about in just a moment. So I've got up for you right here the sprint results from Hungary last week. So the first race, very short 8-lap race, but won by Goat Ghosty, continuing their charge for to be the champion of season 4. 8 points for them, followed by M&D Hammer, then Decivessel, Jakob as we now call them. Obo back with us, first race on a wheel, not a bad start actually for them, 4th in the sprint, followed by SS7 in 5th, then Pankovic in the Williams in 6th. Emeleki on their second race back with the G-Force Racing League, finishing in 7th in the sprint, and then Dorling picking up the final point from the sprint round. Got Decibes in the Twitch chat. Hi Decibes, we'll come and say hi to you during the race hopefully, or certainly during qualifying, and we've got a special feature this week, folks. We're going to try it out at least. We're going to try and dip into the garages of our drivers as they're in quali, and maybe if we have a couple of safety cars, I hope we don't have too many of those, but we'll pop in and say hello to some of our drivers, see how it's going during qualifying, what they're thinking about the track and how they're getting on. Pankovic in the Twitch chat as well. First time chat from them. Well done, Pankovic. Look forward to speaking to you maybe, if you'll have me, in the Williams garage. Go well today. So that was the sprint round in Hungary, and then we had the feature race, and Goat Ghosty is just on a different planet right now. Another victory for them, 25 points more in the bag for them and McLaren. But another good round from M&D Hammer, taking second, same as the sprint race. 18 points for them. They did very well when I last saw them in Austria, and they've just kept that going here in Hungary. So very good drive from M&D Hammer. Desaves, who was with us in the Twitch chat just a moment ago. And I've just, David teased stat in the Twitch chat. It's caught my eye. I'm coming to that, David. I am coming to that. So Desaves in 3rd. Obo followed by Dorling, the two Astons in 4th and 5th. So not a bad day for Aston in the end. SS7 finishing in that midfield in 6th. Daddy Tonk picking up more points for them, and Ferrari in 7th, so 6 more points for Daddy Tonk there. And Emeleki picks up 4 for Red Bull, so Red Bull not having a bad day last week. And then Williams with Pankovic, who was just talking to us, did pick up a point, did enough of the race to get a point, finishing in 9th. Matthew sadly DNF'd quite early on, I think, in the race. Sadly didn't pick up any points from the feature race. Now we're heading off to Qatar very shortly, once our grid is full, and I think we're going to have close to 18 drivers out on track. Now we should have had pretty much 20, but we've had one last minute disaster. Our league owner, SS7, who has attended and raced at and scored in every round of G-Force Racing since season 1, is not racing tonight. Quite incredibly, but they've had some, basically they've been kicked out of their PlayStation or EA account and they can't race. So Obo is actually hosting today's race. They've got the lobby open and bringing all the drivers in. But SS7 is not going to be out on track. I'm gutted. I know SS7 is. David T is. I think the whole team here at G-Force Racing is distraught at that news, and it's not through any of their fault at all. It's just the technology gods have not played ball. But SS7 is watching along with us and directing things, I think, in the Discord server. So they are not missing out in terms of watching this race, but they are not going to be out on track. And I know Qatar is one of their better tracks to be at, so they'll be absolutely gutted to be missing this evening. But SS7, we look forward to having you back out on track in the not too distant future, and we'll get those technology gods in order, and we'll have you racing hopefully next Wednesday. I'm going to move the video on in the top right corner, because let's get to where all the action was happening from the feature race in Hungary last week. Was really close battling throughout both the sprint and the feature race. Very, very much enjoyed the race last week. Had Toby with me in the commentary, but Toby, or Ace Pilot as you otherwise know him, he's going to be out racing, I think, this week. So we look forward to seeing how Toby goes. So let me know a bit. Let me know where you're watching from this evening. If you're brand new to M1 Racing, thanks very much for stopping by. And if you're a long-time follower, thanks for being back with us. And I've got to thank my subscribers, particularly David T, with another 10 months. That's just incredible, my friend. Thank you so much. It really is appreciated. And we look forward to having you back out racing at some point. Hopefully, you're not going to be too busy in the FAA after tonight, but who knows? Who knows? As I mentioned, folks, we're going to stop in as we get underway with qualifying and say hi to some of our drivers in their garages. I'm going to try to avoid it when they're actually out on hot laps, because that's the last thing they want is me in their ear while they're trying to concentrate at 200 miles an hour. even if it is in the virtual world. So let's see where the drivers are now based on all of those results from Hungary. So Goat Ghosty leads the way on 106 points. Very strong opening to the first half of the season from Goat Ghosty and from McLaren. Desaves there in second with 79. They had a good race in Mexico, winning that round. And did pick up points last week as well in Hungary. M&D Hammer, very impressed with M&D Hammer last week. Would have been my choice for driver of the day if it were not for Goat Ghosty having such an epic performance in both races. Obo having a very good season so far, and as Matt was saying in his GFR Digest, Obo's just switched to moving onto a wheel. I'm just seeing in the drivers chat they're waiting on Spicy, so we're going to have our good friend Spicy Nuts back out as well, I think, in GeForce Racing. So everyone's coming back to GeForce Racing, which is great news as we enter the winter months here in the Northern Hemisphere. Come and spend your Wednesday evenings with me and the rest of the crew here at M1 Racing as we enjoy the GeForce Racing League. So Obo, yeah, really good start to their season 4 with 48, currently in, I guess, joint third there with M&D Hammer. SS7 with those 39 points, as we just mentioned, not going to be adding to those 39 today, but hopefully we'll be back in the not too distant future. Pankadelek is quick. Look, watch out for Pankadelek this evening. I wouldn't be too surprised if they're up fighting for the podium in Qatar. M. Dorling, not with us this week, 33 points, currently in 7th. I wonder if you've got Mac T with us this week. I don't see them in the lobby. My eyesight's not that good. So we'll keep an eye out for Mac T. Mac T, very fast driver, currently on 24 points in 8th. Jaguar Paul there in 9th on 16 points. Then Mr. Hannes. Hannes is back with us this week, which is very good news. Go well today, Hannes. David T wants to see your infamous reset to track. If we catch it, then the Hannes tracker will alert us, no doubt. It is still enabled. I haven't turned it off. Daddy Tonk there in 11th on 10 points. Emeleki has 8, but has only been back for a couple of races and is also getting to grips with the new game. Jackamus there on 6, Matthew with 1, and Monty, who briefly joined us for commentary a couple of weeks ago, also there on 1. I don't know if Monty is with us this week, but we have got a lot of drivers out there. Ace Pilot yet to score, my co-commentator here on M1 Racing from time to time, so we've got our fingers crossed that Ace can get on the points board today. And Spicy Nuts, I hear, is coming as well, so if we get Spicy out, that'd be amazing. Yeah, Obo's just adding Spicy to the lobby. So some founding members of GeForce Racing returning, including, as I mentioned, a 2-time champion in M1 Writing. We also saw, I think Haaland has re-signed for GeForce Racing. They're not able to join us this evening, but Haaland was very impressive at the start of Season 3, end of Season 2. So watch out for them if they are back for the future rounds. So as far as constructors are concerned, well, McLaren definitely leads the way. McLaren with Goat Ghosty and Mac T. They are guaranteed to score points, but I say Goat has been very, very impressive this season so far. Will they add to that score of 130 this week? I won't bet against it, I can tell you. Then Mercedes there on 118. Very strong team at Mercedes. And Jakob, or Desaves, has their new team member, David, or David, I maybe should say, if I get the pronunciation correct, joining them in the Mercedes garage. So we'll see how David and Jakob go this evening in Qatar. Then Aston Martin on 81 with them Dorling and Obo going to constantly score very regularly. They'll push up that order, no doubt. And M&D Hammer, if they continue their strong form, and the ever-improving Emma Leckie will count Red Bull out of the mix. Neither Williams with Pankadelek in that team either. Haas on 18, Ferrari on 10, Alpine on 1, Alpha Tauri on 1, and of course it's not Alfa Romeo, but that's SS7's current lead tool, only does Alpha, not Sauber, but that team has yet to get any points on the board. So I think we're just getting ready to ready up. I've just seen it from Obo, so I will see you the other side of this, and we will be in Qatar for Round 5 of the G-Force Racing League Season 4. See you in a moment. On the inside of Cox, SS7 goes with them. It's wheel to wheel as we head down towards Vale. 3 cars wide coming down the strip.
Alright folks, let's go racing.
Alright, game just loading in here for us in Qatar. All our drivers, as you can see, getting ready to go out there in the first round of qualifying. So we are doing full qualifying tonight, folks. So we'll get Q1, Q2 and Q3, getting down to those final 10 drivers for Q3 to get on the pole position here in Qatar. So they've got to nail it first lap round. They'll have time, but they've got to get through. So we're going to get rid of just one driver, I think, from Q1, unless they're all going to sit this out. So I don't know if Obo can hear me, but if they are sitting out Q1, given the number of drivers and going straight into Q2, we shall see. But I expect 1 or 2 of our drivers may come out for a lap very briefly. So we're in Qatar, as I mentioned, this 5.4 kilometre circuit with 16 corners, just the one DRS zone in Qatar, which is down the main start-finish straight. But what a straight it is, and that's where most of the overtaking will take place heading into turn 1. Really fast circuit this, very, very different to what we had last week in Hungary. We might see some overtaking into turn 6, but I suspect most of it will be done into turn 1. First of the Mercedes. Oh, is that a Haas going out or was it Mercedes? We have got a Haas going out, Raytech Gamer, and Mr. Hannes is on their way out as well. So both of the Haas drivers out of the garage heading out onto track. And I've just noticed the game audio is muted, so we might as well get the lovely sound of these F1 engines in our ears. Under the lights here in Qatar. As I mentioned, Turns 1 and 6 are likely to be where most of the overtaking happens, particularly turn 1. And we've got a bit of a Haas roadshow going on with Mr. Hannes visiting all parts of the circuit, just making sure they know their way around Qatar. Certainly one of my favourite ones to drive from a competition standpoint. Really promotes close racing, and these drivers can really push their cars around this pretty fantastic circuit. We'll get our map up so we can see everything that's going on. I'll also put up the tyres as well. Given that we have full quali here, our drivers may be a little bit selective about the tyres they use. Indeed, Pankerlek putting on some Inters. So we'll see what their lap time looks like. Fully expect today to remain entirely dry, but any of you remember the real world F1 race from a couple of years ago? It absolutely hammered it down here in one of the sessions, so it's not impossible for it to rain in Qatar, but I'd be surprised if it gets too wet at all today in the middle of the desert. So Raytech Gamer, we're on board with brand new driver for the G-Force Racing League, and we very much welcome them to the league. They'll see how they go. Fastest lap in the real world during a race is 1:22.384, which was set by Lando Norris this year. So we'll certainly be looking for the 120s, early 120s for our drivers, potentially a little bit faster for some of our more advanced drivers. Raytech trying to get onto the board, and just remember they've only got only one person's going to miss out from Q1, which is a bit tough actually, in all honesty. You won't want to be that driver, I guess. And Rosek is backing out of this lap, I think. So let's get down to their teammate, Mr. Hannes, who is definitely on a bit of a fly here. Going flat through that sequence of corners. Zoom in on this and get a better view. There we go. Back onto the start-finish straight. DRS open for the only time on the lap. And Mr. Hannes does indeed set the fastest lap so far in qualification of 1:22.267. So that gets Hannes on the board and something for everyone to chase after. We've got Obo and Dorling and Pankadalek out on inters. So Pankadalek was the first to make that call. So why don't we go on board with them? David Svat setting the fastest lap at 1:21.534 in these early stages of qualifying. I think we just get the 15 minutes here in Q1. So drivers probably come out a couple of times. Remember, those tyres they use up are... Some will be discounted, some will be retained, but they'll have lost their shine, they'll have lost their grip, so our drivers will be selective about which ones they do indeed use. So just warming up those inters, which won't take so long to warm up on a very dry track when they're designed more for damp conditions. We'll see if some of our teams work together to give each other a tow down that main straight. You can definitely grab 2 to 3 tenths more just by sitting behind your teammate as you go down that start-finish straight. No teammate out there though for Pankadalek today, so they're going to have to do this all on their own. 1:21.534 is the fastest time in Q1 at this point. And what we will have to watch out for is track limits, and I think track limits may be the deciding factor in the final results here today, and that would be a track limit penalty for Pankadalek as they went very wide through 15 there. So onto the start-finish straight, and Pankadalek's had enough actually, so they're not looking to set a time on those inters, just getting their eye in on the circuit, I suspect. Goat Ghosty, our current championship leader. They are out. And I say Goat has been epic in the first few races of this season. No one's realistically been able to get anywhere near them. But I think today may be a different story. M1 Writing has a time on the board, so our double champion from seasons 2 and 3, they've got a 1:21.844. David Savat holding that provisional top spot at the moment with a 1:21.534. We won't worry too much about yellow flags during qualifying, folks. That will just be cars going slow, hopefully getting out of each other's way. So, Goat sets the time for 1:22.149 and an initial sighter for Goat there. And Ace Pilot is on the board as well with a 1:25.482. So that's Toby, who's often in here in the commentary box. I have told them this week they're not allowed to come into the commentary box because they're going to be racing to the very end of the race. They're not going to DNF. So I'm going to hold them to that. Big Tonk, a new driver for the G-Force Racing League, but not a new driver for some of us in the league. So some of you may know, hold a Sunday friendlies outing, just some open lobbies and some friendly races on a Sunday evening. And Big Tonk has been with us on a couple of those in recent times, and they've finally taken the plunge and joined us on a Wednesday for some proper racing. So go well today, Big Tonk, and if you do, you'll get some first points on the board for Sauber. And as we were looking at in the chat lobby earlier, this team has yet to pick up any points whatsoever. So well done, Big Tonk. Give it a go, and hopefully get to the end of this race. You never know, there could be some points on the board. So Big Tonk is hanging back there because there are cars coming through, having set a 1:23.308. Another new driver for us here, KKE. Very active in the Discord chat since they've joined us. Very interested in the activities in the league, which is really great to see. We do like people to get involved. So we have no idea how quick or not they may be. But let's ride on board with them here round the LaSalle circuit. Into the tight turn 6. And you'll see our drivers use tons and tons of track, and purple in that first sector from KKE. So very impressive start. In Q1, 9.5 minutes left to go. Remember, it's just one driver that's got to avoid being kicked out of Q1 before we start whittling them down to just 10 for the last qualification session. Flat out through 14, 12, 13 and 14 here. Stay flat through, just drops a gear as we go through 15. Then into 16, exit from here, ever so important so we get the setup right for the start-finish straight. DRS open, we're going to come over the start-finish line for 121.777. Impressive KKE, welcome to the league. Not a bad way to announce yourself to the G-Force Racing community. So we've got a lot of times on the board, some drivers without any at all. Does look as though Pankadilek is now out on some brand new soft tyres. Remember they had that Citer on some inters. Dorling did set a time on some intermediates, so 125.858, and I did think Matt wasn't able to join us this evening, but it's good that they are. Oh, I see, yeah, they had their work cancelled, so very good. Got both Astons out, and Matt set a pretty respectable time on some intermediates, so well, that's not going to look too bad for them. We'll see if we can stop in with the Aston drivers in a few moments. We'll just see what Pankadilek gets as they go over the line at 121.782. It's getting tight at the top, but nobody yet getting close to David's Fat. How long have we got? 7.5 minutes left. I am going to try this, folks. Let me see if I can get into the Aston Martin garage, and we'll see if we can have a chat with Dorling and Obo. Let's see if this works. I'm going to put the Discord audio on, and hopefully you'll hear them.
Oh,
come in, Matt and Obo. How you doing?
Inner's lap was good fun.
I did see someone was out on intermediate tyres. Well, 125.858, Matt. We've got to be quite pleased with that on inters. I expect you'll be looking for a little bit less with some soft tyres.
I hope so, Mark. I really do.
A surprise edition. I didn't think you were going to make it tonight, but I'm glad you could.
No, I wasn't supposed to, but I had some work got cancelled, so here I am.
So both Astons out there, and Obo, I know you're hosting the lobby for today. How's that going for you?
It was a bit of carnage at the before we started, wasn't it? Invite me. I'm not getting an invite. Add me.
Now you know what SS7 goes through every single week. So I'm going to ask you the one question I'm probably going to ask all the drivers. What do you fear most about this track tonight?
I think it's going to be the same answer for everyone, isn't it? Track limits.
Track limits. Yeah. I said earlier, I think it might decide the result today.
Or rain.
Or rain.
I don't think anyone's prepared for rain.
I don't think anyone is, particularly as Matt's just burnt a set of inters anyway, so he might need them. All right, well, I won't distract you anymore. You've got 6 minutes left of Q1, so you need to make sure you're not in that last spot. So I'll leave you for now. I might visit back a bit later, but have a good race.
Cheers,
Thank you.
So it is just one spot out in Q3 then? Q1?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to leave you folks. I am still here, but it won't let me
hello.
use the Discord. There we go. I found the right buttons. I'll see you later, guys. Thank you. All right. So it's the first time we've done this, folks. So I may get some of this wrong and I might press the wrong buttons. Let's see what's happened in the interim while I was talking to the Aston Martin drivers. So David's Fat's still up there with a 121.534, KKE with a 121.777 and Pankadilek 121.782. The driver on the cusp at the moment is Emelecki now, in 16th at the moment and has not set a lap. Hey, everyone right in the Twitch chat, amazing to have you back, my friend. I think a lot of drivers looking over their shoulder. I hope you've been putting the practice in though, because the standard has continued to increase since you've been gone, so you might have your work cut out today. And I look forward to a good battle between you and Goat Ghosty. This could be interesting. And also Hannes commented on Jakob's lap. It does look as though that 121.935 was set on inters, but actually that's a brand new set of inters. That was done on softs for sure. For sure. So let's see who else is back out there. Well, we were just talking to Obo, so let's give them the honour of taking us around this track here in Qatar. We're going through turns 4 and now 5, then heavy braking into 6. This is the tightest corner on the circuit, turn 6. Then up to turn 7. This one's tricky. You want to drop a couple of gears, hug close to the curb on the inside, and get on the power on the exit. Use as much curb as you dare on the outside. And as Obo was saying, and Matt, to be fair to them both, track limits is going to be a killer around here, both for qualifying and when we get into the race. Obviously in qualifying that only really takes your lap time away, but in the race you do that 3 times, you're going to get a 3-second penalty. Coming around the final corners of the lap here, Obo just really looking to secure safety in Q1. We've only got 3.5 minutes left to go. This has gone quite quick, Q1. So Obo comes over the line for 121.996. I mentioned in the intro, Obo is on their wheel for a second time around, so gradually starting to build the pace into that. And Obo was pretty quick on a controller, so I think with a bit more practice on that wheel, they are going to be fighting up the front of this grid before too long. Let's get down to their teammate. M. Dorling came in straight after them with a 121.810. So that inter time did not last long, a full 4 seconds quicker for M. Dorling, putting them provisionally 4th on the standings right now. Remember, they're just trying to avoid being kicked out of Q1. Daddy Tonk here, part of the family Tonk it would seem. Certainly getting better and better every week, starting to score points for them and for Ferrari, so going very, very well. Currently in 13th with a 123.601, looking to improve on that, coming round to the end of the lap here. The entry to the pit lane now having moved, is now on the right hand side of the start-finish straight. And Daddy Tonk does improve, a 122.710, improves by nearly 9/10, moves them up into 11th. Well done, Daddy Tonk. Spicy Nuts is there, brilliant. We'll get with Spicy at some point during qualifying here. Spicy looks safe at the moment, but the only driver who's not is Emeleki, and that's their Red Bull teammate. Looks as though they're really getting out of the way, but taking out a number of the signs with them as they go. So it was M&D Hammer also on an out lap. Emeleki is on a lap right now. Remember, they've got to get out of 16th place. And they've got no more time to do it after this lap, so really risking everything on a 1-lap dash. So they come around those incredibly fast corners as 12, 13 and 14, then through 15, stay within track limits, Emeleki. As we come down into 16, they haven't invalidated, looks good from Emeleki at this point. Now we head down towards the line. Big Tonk's had enough, they've retired. And Emeleki sets a 122.529. That at the moment is good enough. That puts the pressure on my co-commentator Ace Pilot, who's got a 124.828. As we come to Toby, and they are going sideways. I think that is Toby's time. So Ace, I think, is going to be leaving us in Q1. And we'll get to watch Q2 and Q3 from the comfort of the garage. Ryotech looking to improve on that 124.267. This is a brand new set of soft tyres, and I think Ryotech's, they have, as you see from the red map there, mini map in the bottom right corner of your screen, folks, that means that track was invalidated, and I don't think Ryotech will get another lap in. I think Spicy Nuts has decided that 122.967 is enough, and indeed it will be. So Ace Pilot, unless they managed to get over the line in time, which I don't think they did. No, so that sadly is going to be Ace Pilot out of qualifying. So Ryotech, Big Tonk, Spicy Nuts, Daddy Tonk, Emeleki, M&D Hammer, Mr. Hannes, Goat Ghosty, Obo, Jakob, M1 Righty, M Dorley, Pankalek, KKE and David Svat are all through. M1 Righty said in the Twitch chat they only practiced today. Well, that's not bad. 121.844, and you're going to get a little bit more practice in Q2, which will be coming up in just a few moments' time. So while we're waiting and everyone seems to be in the garage, I'm going to stop by in the Mercedes garage and say hello to David and Jakob and see how they found Q1.
Hello.
Hey Jakob, hey David, how's things? How did you find Q1?
What again, please?
How was Q1 for you, David? A very fast time, fastest to Q1. It's all working well for you?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It wasn't my fastest. I made a lot of mistakes, so I can improve definitely a lot more.
Oh wow, that's gonna put some fear into our other drivers. I think if you got a bit more pace in you than that, very good. And I've asked. I was just on with the the Aston Martin drivers. I'm going to ask you the same question. What's your biggest fear about this track in Qatar? What are you worried about the most?
Track limits and front left tire.
Yeah, front left.
How were the tires hanging on through qualifying? Were they going off super quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were going super quick. Like the new tires were basically like maybe almost 2/10 better than the old ones. So yeah.
Oh wow, okay. And what do you think the race tires going to be? The hards or the mediums?
Hards for sure.
Hards, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to leave you. It looks as though we're going to be starting Q2. So, David, welcome to the league. Great drive in Q1, and go well, both of you, in Q2.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, mate.
And if I can find out how to leave you, because I failed miserably with that last time, but I will get there in a minute. Bear with me. There we go.
Nope.
Found the right buttons. All right. Go well, folks. There we go. So I've got to get used to coming in and out of different chats, folks. This is going to be interesting. So I'm learning on as we go here, so bear with me. As Obo comes out very quickly in Q2, it would seem, to get out and get a qualifying time on the board. So our drivers will be looking over their shoulders now, because we're going to lose 5 more out of Q2, and they've only got just over 14 minutes left to do it. So again, 2 more sets of tyres. Some of them will be looking to hold on to a set of tyres, probably for the main race. So we'll not be looking to use up too many of these soft tyres, particularly if we have a safety car towards the end of the feature race. They could be like gold dust. So Obo is out, Emeleki is out, KKE out, M&D Hammer is out, Rytech Gamer is out, Mr. Hannes is out, and Ghosty is out. So it's got busy already, and it is wonderful to have so many drivers back out with GeForce Racing. I've got to tell you folks, if you look back at the streams from recent weeks, we only had about 10 to 12 drivers. The driving has been so close, so exciting, always something to talk about. So the fact we've added another 6 drivers to the mix for this week is going to give us plenty to feast our eyes on here today. If you're watching along, give us your predictions for who you think is going to win today. We've got a new contender in David, who may well mix things up if they have got a lot more pace, as they were suggesting they might have. Oh, Spicy Nuts is there. I'm so used to seeing Spicy in a McLaren, but there they are in an RB. So we'll see how Spicy does, and we'll get on board with them as they get round to start their lap. So yeah, let me know who you think is going to win today. Ghosty obviously has set the pace for the rest of them in terms of points this season so far. They'll do well to keep it going based on those early qualifying times, but remember, that's just our drivers getting to the rhythm, probably not pushing themselves too hard, just enough to get through. So I'm just here with Spicy Nuts as we see what time they can set. That 1:21 was the fastest time, 1:21.5 from David in Q1. So that's our sighter. Let's get on board with Spicy as they're caressing those soft tyres around this lap. Into the final corner. I know Spicy has not had a lot of time on this game, so we won't expect huge things from him at this point, but let's see what happens. So straight down, the start-finish straight, DRS wide open. dropping a little bit of battery on the way into turn 1. Nice and smooth around turn 1. Mr. Hanny's getting a time on the board of 122.613. Spicy wrestling this RB round turn 2 and then turn 3, heading down to turn 4. We've got a car in front of us which we hope is going to dip out the way. That's, I think, their teammate. Ghosty 122.526. The RB struggling for grip under braking there. Round turn 7. Ooh, back end of the RB stepping out as Spicy gets on the power. Through 8 and 9. Then through 10. Not really going out too wide there for Spicy. Then we go through this fast sequence, 12. Then 13. Lots of curbs from our drivers. Then 14. Stopping the car going beyond track limits. Spicy still clean so far. Last but one corner into turn 16. Pankerlek 122.202. Fastest so far. Into the DRS. Over the start finish line for 123.226. So Spicy is on the board. Here comes Emeleki on their lap, has already invalidated. So sadly for them, not going to improve. Dorling now looking to get their first time of Q2 on the board, coming around the final corner. Ooh, that was because they invalidated literally on the last corner. We've heard 4 drivers say it so far, and they won't be the last. Track limits is a killer round here, so sadly for Dorling, that is not going to put them on the board, and they are going to have to go again. M1 righty on their way round in the Alpine, looking to beat that 122.202. Just got to be in the top 10. Easier said than done, though. M1 righty driving for Alpine for another season here. Certainly won their second championship with the Alpine team. I think maybe in the first season, their first championship was also with Alpine. I'll have to get my good friend David T to perhaps check our stats at some point on that. Round the final corners here. 121.919. These times coming down all the time. So Jakob setting the fastest time in Q2 so far. M1 righty right on the edge of track limits as they come through to set 121.637. 0.3 faster than Jakob. So these times getting quicker and quicker. Who else have we got out there? David Svat yet to get out there. Dorling, I think, is going again. And David T has his stats to hand. So M1 righty out qualified by SHS in season 3, but still won more races. Wow, David, I wish you were here in the commentary box with me after time. Those stats are amazing. I know Dorling's taken on the role of helping to manage the stats as well as his regular insights. So expect more stats to come, folks, and they just add extra colour to this amazing stream we can bring you every week. If you're new and haven't yet, hit the follow button, please do. Thanks ever so much for being here and enjoying the racing with us. A reminder, we are on round 5 of the G-Force Racing League, this time round from Qatar, and because we've got a pretty full grid, we've got full qualification for you, followed by a 50% feature race. And we don't often get a chance to do full quali, so this is quite a pleasure to see our drivers out there, but also giving them a chance to get their eye in on this track. But it's going to come down to the business end very soon. We've got 7.5 minutes left of Q2, and some drivers yet to get a time on the board. Ryatech Gamer is one of those in the Haas. So Mr. Hannes' new teammate here for the Haas team, trying to get a few more points on the board. They've got a time of 123.974, but I suspect that might need to come down a little bit if they want to get out into Q3. At the moment, Spicy Nuts is on the cusp. Ryatech, Emeleki, Dorling, Daddy Talk and David Svat yet to set any time at all. Daddy Talk is trying to get a lap in here for them and Ferrari. Purple in sector 2, so going well for Daddy Tonk so far. Let's keep it within track limits, Daddy Tonk. Doing well so far. 2 more corners to go. And they've cut too much of turn 15 there and invalidated right at the last minute. It was going so well. And this is going to be the difference between Q3 or somewhere down the grid. So bad news for Daddy Talk, straight into the pits. They've got enough time to get a new set of tyres and get back out there. Emma Leckie now trying to set a time for Red Bull. Purple in sector 1 for Emma Leckie, but they've backed out of that. They have backed out of that, so they'll have to perhaps conserve that battery. So David Svat, who was fastest in Q1 with a 121.5, looking to improve on that. Everyone right, he got pretty close to that Q1 time. Let's see how David does here. Purple in sector 1, so it's going well early doors for David. Found that tricky turn 7, and you see tons and tons of curb from our drivers, but that's where they risk that invalidating going beyond track limit. Back on the power through the sweeping section 12, 13 and 14 to see how much curb David takes. Nice and smooth from the Mercedes here. Drops a gear. Back up 7th through 15. Now we come down to 16 where it was the entry to the pit lane, but now has moved on to the main start-finish straight. Over the start-finish line for the fastest time of 121.268. We should never have doubted David, so beating their previous time by 3/10 and clear gap between them and M1 Righty. The Mercedes looking very strong right now with David in first and Jakob in third. Then comes M1, so M1 Righty splitting those two Mercedes in Q2. Pankerlek on the ball with a 122.202. Goat Ghosty, 5th fastest right now. We need to focus though on those drivers who are on the cusp. M. Dorling in particular, and Emma Leckie, no time on the board. Daddy Tonk leaving it to the right last minute. And has M. Dorling invalidated again? M. Dorling back into the pits. They really are leaving it to the last minute. Emma Leckie is going again. This will be their last hope. They've got to get this time on the board. And does well, 122.143. I held my breath for Emma Leckie there, but they are up there, provisional 5th right now, and are likely to be going through to Q3. Pankerlek has caught my eye, 121.526, so has improved. Goes above M1 Righty into 2nd spot there in Q2. So all of our drivers starting to pick up the pace with every lap, with every corner. So Daddy Tonk is back out on an out lap right now and is starting to chew through some of these tyres. Wonder how many of them are thinking of or reusing some tyres from before. Daddy Tonk, an absolutely brand new set. Call out for Big Tonk, has got a 123.079, but sadly for them is on the cusp of going out right now. We've got just under 3 minutes left to go, so we might see our drivers go one more time with whatever tyres they have left to use. Daddy Tonk's got to get a time on the board though. Just looking to get into the mid 122s. That's what they'll need to go above Obo, Mr. Hannes and KKE. All who are now back out. M&D Hammer there, we haven't spent any time with, but had very good racing both Austria and Hungary. Currently 7th fastest, they are going through. Mr. Hannes is going out again. Obviously focusing right now on our bottom 5 drivers, hoping that they can make it through. Daddy Tonk before invalidated a couple of times, and that's really hurt them in trying to get a time on the board because they were showing very, very good pace. Stays within track limits there on the exit of 15. Just one more corner to go. As they come, and they're heading straight to the start-finish line. So this looks promising for Daddy Tonk. Not going to be good enough though. 122.648. I don't think Daddy Tonk will have enough time to get back round and back out again. Spicy is going again. So it's right on board with Spicy. So Dorling's got to get a time on the board as well. Riotech Gamer is going one more time. They've got a 1:23.974. Got to improve by nearly a second and a half. Many of our other drivers going out looking to protect their position. So KKE, M&D Hammer, Ghosty, Mr. Hannes, Obo, all got their looking over their shoulder here really. The drivers behind them knowing just the smallest improvement could see them taken out of qualifying and will miss Q3. Spicy Nuts best for 1:23.226, needs to take another 0.6 or more off of that. In the middle of the track here now, back of the circuit. And that turn 7 back into that Red Bull, not, or that RB I should say, not quite under control for Spicy. Decibes or Jakob in the Twitch chat. Yeah, this track eats tyres for breakfast. So there's perhaps an interesting story I'll tell you about that from a previous GFR season. And the final corner here. Spicy Nuts has kept it clean. Are they going to improve? We looked at the timing screen. Indeed does. Goes 8th quickest so far. 1:22.359. Well done, Spicy. Very, very good from you. At the moment, you're going through to Q3. Very good stuff. So that leaves us with M. Dorling, who has no time on the board, leaving it right to the last. We are out of time. So if our driver's not started their final lap, they are not going to get any more times on the board. That's Riotech Gamer out of qualifying. Big Tonk is out of qualifying. Is M. Dorling going to be out of qualifying? No, they are not. So 5th for M. Dorling. That's just relegated to 6th with a new time coming in there for KKE. Nice drive, KKE, 1:21.507. That keeps them safe. Mr. Hannes there in 7th. We're looking for Obo, who's been relegated into 12th. And that's Obo done. That is Obo done. So Obo is out. Is Ghosty also out? This is probably the shock of Q2. Championship leader Ghosty out of qualifying, is not going to make it through to Q3. So lots of hard work coming up for Ghosty in the race itself. Ghosty currently in 11th. Obo there 12th. Daddy Tonk 13th. Maybe we're going to have a chat with Daddy Tonk if he doesn't mind in just a moment. See how he found qualifying. Big Tonk in 14th and Right Gamer 15th. They are our drivers to leave us. Spicy in the Twitch chat. Spicy, welcome back, my friend. Great to have you with us, both racing and on the Twitch stream. Well done. Just about scraped through. 10th spot. That will do. You've got a bit of improvement to get up onto that front row, but well done making it through, considering this is your return to GFR after some time. Great drive. All right, let me see if I can get through to Daddy Tonk in the Ferrari garage, and we'll have a quick chat with him.
Lucas.
Hey, Daddy Tonk. Mark here from the stream. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Well, I'm doing very well, and it looks as though you were on for some really quick times during qualifying there. Thought you'd make it through to Q3, and I think track limits did you in the end. Was that the reason?
Yes, track limits did do me over in the end. Yeah, I mean, to being in Q3, but unfortunately going a little bit wide validated my lap. Unfortunately, I didn't make it, but I know my one lap pace isn't great, but over the distance, I'm pretty consistent. So looking forward to the race.
Yeah, me too. I think you were setting some purple sectors out there, so it was good. What's the tyre wear like? We were talking to the Mercedes drivers a few moments ago about tyre wear, and they were seeing it pretty extreme. Were you feeling the same?
Yes, especially the main tyre wear was on the front left, within obviously over that lap, within on the softs. I mean, I got 16% on one lap, so the tyre wear is quite high around here. I suspect in the race being 29 laps, I don't think we'll use softs.
Yeah.
But then obviously that's when strategy comes into.
And I think,
but yeah, hopefully getting the points.
Well, you've been doing that for the last few weeks, which is very impressive. So yeah, we'll keep your fingers crossed for you in the race. Tyre strategy wise, do you think this will be a one-stopper or two-stopper for most people?
Personally, I think that'll be a two-stopper. I mean, it all depends, obviously, if we have any safety cars or anything. I mean, anything can happen in 29 laps.
That is for sure. And we are known to have a few safety cars around this one, so but we hope it isn't you, Daddy Tonk. So I'll, I'll leave you to sit back and relax and perhaps enjoy Q3 as we watch along and see where everyone else finishes up. But thanks for jumping on the chat with us, and go well in the race.
No worries. Thank you.
Cheers, my friend. Bye. And I found the right buttons, folks, to actually leave a voice channel. So we're starting to come together. It's starting to come together. So we've got a few of our drivers coming into the Twitch chat who've not made it through to Q3. None of our drivers yet coming out either. So it's going to take a little while, I think, before we see any of our drivers out there. Now, so we see Rule in the Twitch chat. Now, Rule, you have to let me know what your EA username is so I can try and join your Twitch name up with the driver's name. But the game froze for you, which is no good. KKE. Well, you made it through. Hopefully, we'll get you back in before the end of Q3. And you can hopefully set a time. But at least you made it through to Q3. Guaranteed at least starting 10th. Out there for the main race when we get underway. And M1 Righty also stuck on the black screen. I wonder if we have lost Obo. So I wonder if we have got a slight technical issue. So I wonder... Yeah, okay. So I think we may be restarting just... the last qualifying or starting the race with the results of Q1 or Q2 I should say, just keeping my eye on the drivers chat. So we may end up leaving this lobby and going to a new one. We will see. So bear with us, folks, just while we work out what is going on. What's clear is that we're not going to have the Q3 that you see on your screen. So what I'm going to do is briefly go to an intermission here. Stay with us. We won't be gone long. I'll be back and we'll be into either the final Q3 or we'll be into the race. But as you can see, our driver's shifting to a new lobby. So we'll be back with you very, very shortly. Don't go anywhere, folks. I'll speak to you very, very shortly. All right, folks, we are back. We are back. So, new lobby created. I think we are going straight into the race, which I think is a smart move. So, they're going to take the results of Q2 as the grid order for the start of the main race here. Now, with Obo in control, maybe Obo will decide that they were the fastest and put themselves on pole with him Dorling alongside them, or otherwise, we'll see David Sabat on the top step, certainly the front row, I should say, P1. And Spicy will hold their 10th spot on the grid. So hopefully when we get them ready up, we'll be going in. We'll be going into the channel, maybe whilst we're waiting. Let's see if we can pop into one of the garages. Well, maybe we'll go and say hi to the Haas team. See how Hannah's, and I see Toby's in there as well, and Rytech Gamers. I wonder if they'll talk to us. Maybe we'll pop in there and say hello, and while we're waiting for the ready up signal. Hello, Haas team.
Hello.
There's Toby. Hey, Hannes, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, all right. And Rytech, welcome to the league.
Yeah.
Bit of a
I'm happy.
How did you find qualifying? How did you find qualifying?
Pretty tough. I mean, Qatar is with the track limit, it's pretty hard to get a validated lap. So yeah.
Oh, well, thanks for giving it a go. Well, there's a whole race ahead of you, so that's where you're going to start. We'll look for you to go well in the race. Hannes, how was qualifying for you? You were going quite well.
Yeah, it was decent, but yeah, I think I'm more of a race pace person than I'm not very strong in qualifying generally. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what we can do. I think you can get a lot by just keeping it within the track limits as well. So
I guarantee you that the drivers who get no track limit penalties may do very, very well tonight. Our good friend David T could probably tell us about that experience as well from his last turnout here at Qatar. What do you think, without giving too much away, what do you think pit stops are going to be today? 1 stop or 2 stop?
I think 1 stop, but it's going to be on the limit to some punctures at the end.
Could end up like
probably go for 1 stop too.
Yeah.
Depends if it's going to be an early safety car, maybe. It's a pretty high risk of safety car now with so many people in lobbies as well.
That is true. That is true. I see everyone's readying up, so with a bit of luck, we'll be going racing very shortly. Well, and Toby, very quickly to you. That was a bit of a tough qualifying for you out in Q1, sadly.
Yeah, I lost the rear one too many times, but I didn't crash into a wall.
Well, that's true. Well, go well, boys. Enjoy tonight, and maybe we'll check in with you later, but have fun.
It worked.
I'm quite enjoying this, going talking to those. It's usually just me and somebody else on the commentary team, so it's actually nice to talk to the drivers. So my thanks to Obo for suggesting that, and so far at least, it's working. So far at least. All right, so as you can see, game just loading up, so let us switch over to our full screen. And what we should see is maybe a quick shot of the pit garages and then our drivers on the starting grid, and we'll go for the 29 laps around Qatar. This is going to fly by if recent races are anything to go by, and with so many drivers out on track, I'm going to do my best to keep you up to speed with everything that is going on. But if you see something that I miss, folks, put it in the chat and I'll do my best to get to it on the stream. There's going to be a lot of close battles out there. We do have damage set to standard in this league, so any contact from our drivers, and we could see some of them in for new wings. Hopefully not any DNFs, but in extreme circumstances that can be the case. So we keep our fingers crossed for a nice clean race. And as we were talking about with so many of our drivers tonight, track limits is going to play a part in who finishes where. That's how, David, I'm going to get this wrong if you're still watching along. Was it second or third place you finished in Qatar? I know it was on the podium, but that was largely thanks to A, a very good drive, and B, keeping it clean. So if David's performance, I think, from season 3 is anything to go by, that's what smart drivers need to do today. But then these are all racers, and they're going to push it to the very edge. So we're just waiting. P2, David's confirmed. Well done. Thank you. I really didn't want to undersell what you'd achieved. So well done, David. P2 for David it was. And that was some race. And that was the story I also meant to mention. So it was notable for David's P2, but it was also notable for what happened to the two Alpines, SHS Predestinato and M1 Righty, who both got punctures on, I think, the penultimate lap. And that was on the F123 game, which was notoriously harsh on tyres at Qatar. And we don't expect the same kind of experience here. But you could tell our drivers a little bit nervous about the tyre wear here at Qatar. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. The lights are coming on. All right, folks, let's go racing for round 5 of the G-Force Racing League from Qatar. David Svat leads us away. Indeed, both Mercedes lead us away on lap 1 into the first corner. Pankenlek having to back out of that, and that's allowed M&D Hammer to move up into third. So a very good start from the two Mercedes drivers. M&D Hammer, just like they did in Hungary last week, taking advantage of a very strong start. Oh, and that was Daddy Tonk and Obo, I think, having a very strong defence there, Daddy Tonk on... It was M. Dorling just getting past, but that's allowed both Astons through now on the Ferrari. So Daddy Tonk, I think he's going to have some pace here, but they need to just be a little bit careful, settle into the race, and don't fight too hard early doors here. Let's bring up the tyres before we get too deep into this. So we've got a mixture of strategies. So some going to go long on the hards, take those through probably to around about lap 17, 18, 19 before they get off of those, and then those mediums. We'll see how long those mediums can go. But David Svat has led us away. New driver for G-Force Racing as Daddy Tonk goes a little bit wide. Stay within those track limits, Daddy Tonk. So David Svat, their debut with G-Force Racing League. Will it be a debut victory for them? And David T, absolutely right. Bit of a bug for in FY23 at Qatar. Really destroying the tyres when we had a sprint round there, and we learned a lot that day, but it did make for some incredibly exciting racing. I might post a link to that when we post this on YouTube. All of the videos from all of our recent races are on every single season, I should say, of G-Force Racing, are available to you on my YouTube channel, M1 Racing. Link to that channel is on my Twitch channel. Stop by there sometime, as you'll find the replay from today later on this evening, as well as G4, the GFR digest from M. Dorling, as Mr. Hannes locks up just behind Pankelek, trying to find a way past the Williams driver. So our driver's starting to settle in here, but clearly the front three of David Svat, Jakob and M&D Hammer stretching out already on KKE. So KKE being hunted down here by M1 Righty in the Alpine. So M1 Righty has some good pace early doors on these hard tyres. KKE struggling to get this going at this early stage in the race. Our first track limit penalty for Ace Pilot picks up 3 seconds. So when we get those 4 wheels over these white lines 3 times or more, as M1 Righty is demonstrating for us, do that 3 times you get 3 seconds, do that another 3 times you get another 3 seconds, and so on. Obviously M1 Righty on hard tyres in the dirty air of their teammate in front of them, who's actually doing them a bit of a favour right now, dragging them along the straight. So helping M1 Righty out quite significantly as the Alpines 4th and 5th. And behind M1 Righty we've got Mr. Hannes. David Svat picks up an early 3-second penalty, so our leader on lap 3 already with a 3-second penalty in the bag. These are not things you want to collect through this race. So we'll bring the penalties up on screen at various intervals through today as Mr. Hannes goes wide as well. Keep track of these, folks. The stewards are going to be very, very busy in today's race, that is for sure. So we do have a bit of a DRS train forming from 4th all the way down to 11th here before we get a bit of a gap to Big Tonk, who's now dragging along Jaguar Paw, Spicy Nuts. Spicy Nuts had a bit of a tough start by the looks of things, dropping down into 14th. Then Ryotech Gamer, Ace Pilot and Goat Ghosty. Goat, what happened to Goat? Did anybody see? Goat's had an absolute disaster so far, so not getting out of Q2 and now in 17th place. They've obviously been into the pits, they've got onto those hard tyres, so maybe are coming together, and that's always the risk when you're further down the grid, that you get involved in the odd skirmish or two as Mr. Hanners goes wide. Again, we'll look out for a track limit penalty. Let's get down towards the back end of the running order with Big Tonk out there in a Sauber for the first time, with Spicy Nuts behind them, but Jaguar Paw, who M. Dorling was covering in his pre-race insights, through on the Sauber and is now going to make up a 2-second gap to Emeleki there in 11th. We'll start to see the lap times come down in the not too distant future as the tyres settle in on our hards and hard runners and the fuel load starts to come down. Fastest so far 124.696, that's from Jakob. And we've got a yellow flag, and I've lost my track map, so let's bring that back up. Brief yellow flag there, so that's fortunately left us, so no safety car so far. We're on lap 4 with Big Tonk being towed around now by Jaguar Paw. Jaguar Paw, very good driver, and I don't think that qualifying really showed the best of them, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do okay here in Qatar. Daddy Tonk picking up 3 seconds already on lap 4. They are not going to be alone. Emeleki's done well actually. They're staying with Daddy Tonk, and that DRS train still going all the way from KKE in 4th, pretty much all the way back to Emeleki. Then that 2-second gap to Jaguar Paw, who's towing along Spicy Nuts and Big Tonk. Then Ryotech Gamer in 15th, starting to drop back a little bit. Ace Pilot still going there in 16th, and gradually being closed down now by Goat Ghosty, who's looking to make up ground. Let's get back to the front. David Svat leads us on lap 5, but M&D Hammer has now got past Jakob into 2nd, and Maleki picks up 3 seconds. So that is going to keep flashing up all night, folks. So Jakob on the tail of M&D Hammer, but really not having to challenge so much. It's too early doors. Only 5 laps in, they'll look to take these medium tyres as far as they can. But KKE is now starting to close in. That gap had opened up a little bit to just beyond 2 seconds. They've got it down to 1.5 seconds, bringing M1 Righty. But M1 Righty has now broken the DRS to Mr. Hannes. So that's going to put Mr. Hannes at risk. Yellow flag in Sector 2. That looked like a spinning Williams, I think. Or possibly an RB. Yeah, they're back underway though. Fortunately, no walls in close proximity here in Qatar, so it's going to need to be a pretty major accident to take anyone out of this race. As we've got M&D Hammer moving up into the lead of this race here in Qatar, going down the inside, but David is hanging on to the inside as they go into turn 2. Wheel to wheel between these two. Very good driving between the Red Bull and the Mercedes. As we continue through turn 3 now down into turn 4, which M&D Hammer has the inside for. David backs out of that, sits back in behind the Red Bull, and M&D Hammer showing strong pace once again against some very quick drivers. M&D Hammer might have some designs on the GFR title this season as they lead this race on lap 6. Now pulling the Mercedes behind them. KKE 2 seconds back, bringing their teammate M1 Righty with them. Another 3 seconds for Ace Pilot, and Pankerlek now closing in on M1 Righty, having got past Mr. Hannes. So Mr. Hannes, maybe those medium tyres already starting to go off. Certainly by the way that M1 Righty and M. Dorling also now closing in on Mr. Hannes are going. And Pankerlek, I think these mediums may already be going off. So we mentioned Daddy Talk was thinking potentially around a 2-stop. Hannes and others were talking about maybe a one stop. I think that's going to be a challenge unless these hards hang on particularly well. M1 Righties decided to get past their teammate of KKE, moves up into 4th. M&D Hammer now has dropped back into 3rd, so the lead at the front changing hands under the DRS of the start-finish straight. M Dorling now has got past Mr. Hannis, so I told you folks this was all going to go on and be next to impossible to keep up with it all, but I am doing my best here. So M Dorling onto the back of Pankadelek, and these hard tyres definitely starting to be the tyre to be on. Still got a long way to go though, another 23 laps to go, so a long way to take these hard still, even before they think about pitting. Wonder who will be the first to blink. Obviously Goat Ghosty has been in, but has already closed down the best part of 7 seconds on Ace Pilot there in 16th. Goat's last lap of 125.945 to Ace Pilot's 127.781. So won't be too long before Goat is on the back of Ace, but Goat also needs to probably preserve those hards and is probably hoping for a safety car later on in the race to help bring them back into play. We did see Goat briefly popped into the Twitch chat. They weren't obviously very pleased with their performance. Now we got at the first pitter, so Jakob is in very early into the pits there. If we get a safety car, we might stop by Jakob's garage and see if he'll talk to us. That is very early, and that's putting Jakob all the way down before they come back out in 15th place there. So on to brand new hard tyres for Jakob on lap 8. So very early pit stop for the medium runner there. And David Svat, I wonder if there's been a coming together there which I missed, but we've seen a few others dash in, so just trying to work out where everyone has gone. M&D Hammer now has dropped down into 4th, has promoted KKE and M1 Righty into 3rd, so perhaps a bit of a coming together. We'll look for reports there as to perhaps what happened, but that has certainly pushed a number of what was the leading trio back quite a bit. So David Svat leads the way, but now has a 2-second gap on KKE. So that whatever befalled M&D Hammer and Jakob has set those drivers right back, but certainly advantaged David there. KKE now into 3rd as M1 Righty goes back through under the power of the DRS, which is incredibly powerful. But look at those two top runners, both with track limit penalties already. We're on lap 9, about a third of the way through. Let's take a look at those penalties. So David, M1 Righty, Daddy Tonk, Emeleki, Big Tonk and Spicy Nuts all have 3 seconds, and Ace Pilot has 6. And with our cars running so close together, you can see that even just a 3-second penalty is going to have a major influence on where someone finishes in this race. So KKE, very impressive though, staying with M1 Righty, and these Alpine drivers, just as we saw between Predestinato and M1 Righty in previous seasons, working together to try and close down our leader in the Mercedes. M&D Hammer is gradually trying to recover here. We'll see, we'll look closely, see if there's any damage on M&D Hammer's car. Indeed, they are indeed missing front end of their wing there, right hand side folks there, so that's compromising their downforce for sure, as M&D Hammer very ably demonstrates for us. So I suspect a coming together with Jakob at some point earlier on has caused them to fall back, but M&D Hammer deciding to carry on at this stage. KKE and M1 Righty switch places once again under DRS on the main start finish straight, but this has brought Pankadelek and M Dorling right into play onto the back of M&D Hammer, and another yellow flag. Let's get down to who was that? Well, I think we have got that's Spicy really struggling there. So Spicy having a moment coming out of turn 15. I wonder if they've picked up some damage, and they are straight into the pits, and we do see some pit stops starting to take place. Big Tonk is in brand new hard tyres for them, Riotech Gamer in for brand new hard tyres as well. Spicy also now in. And we'll get off of those mediums, which I'm pretty sure they'll be glad about, but also a brand new front wing for the RB. Fastest lap still has not been beaten, a 124.696 from Jakob. So nobody really picking up the pace yet, but we'll see if that changes with new tyres going on a number of these cars. KKE and M1 Righty, having worked together, have closed that gap to David Slat down to 1.7 seconds. That had gone out to 2.2, coming back down 3 more seconds for Daddy Tonk. M&D Hammer really starting to fall on off the pace, but holding Pankadlak M Dorling at bay. But it's going to bring Obo back into this. We just see the Aston Martin of Obo as Pankadlak and M Dorling. Is M Dorling going to get 2 places in one go here? Not quite. So both Pankadlak and M Dorling get through on the Red Bull of M&D Hammer, and Obo will be the next to have a go at the Red Bull. Daddy Tonk though is on the back here of Obo. Although they've picked up some track limit penalties, they are still there in 8th place and hanging on to the rear end of Obo. Yeah, David T's noticing that how quickly M1 Right is closing in on David Svat, and I think it won't be too long before they're in the range of DRS. And Tim Forever, absolutely, it is not the same without SS7. A real shock for them not to be out here, but as we said at the start of the stream, no fault of their own, as technology has massively let them down. But we know they're watching along with us here and keeping an eye on things in the Discord server as well, and we very much hope that they will be back before not too distant future. Although this is the first race they've missed, at least it won't break their scoring streak if they score in the next race. So but yeah, literally every round they've been at and every round they've scored at until today. So it really is starting to bunch up behind Pankadlak. David Svat is in. So David Svat is in off of those medium tyres. We'll be onto those brand new hards. And they will come out in... Or they're going to get Mr. Hannes go by. No, Mr. Hannes is into the pits as well. So David Svat coming out in 10th place here. All the drivers ahead of them yet to pit. So David may well inherit the lead of this race, barring a safety car, of course. Riotech Gamer now picks up a 3-second track limits warning, or penalty, I should say. So we're on lap 12. Emma Leckie now with 3 seconds. Go on, let's have another look then. Where are we in? So Emma Leckie has 9 seconds, the most of anybody. That is going to be a large number come the end of the race. 6 seconds for Daddy Tonk now, 3 seconds for M1 Righty. So although they lead, KKE is actually net lead of this race at this point in time, depending on how David goes. Although David's fat, yes, indeed, has 3 seconds as well. So Ace Pilot with 6, but still going. Keep going, Toby. 3 seconds for Big Tonk. We do have a yellow flag in Sector 2. Is that... I think that's the RB again. And Spicy struggling. 6 seconds for Spicy, 3 seconds for Riotech there as well. We'll come back to penalties in a little while. I can tell you folks, they are going to... Wouldn't be surprised if they determine the winner of this race, along with many, many other positions. Let's get up to Pankadlak, M Dorling, M&D Hammer and Obo, because this looks like a pretty decent battle brewing here towards the sharp end of this race. Obviously, all of these drivers yet to pit. We'll keep an eye on David Svat's times to see if he can start closing in. The undercut here typically in Qatar is pretty strong, but also at the same time the pit lane or the pit stop time is also quite long. We've got another yellow flag. Oh, safety car. Safety car. Well, this has played right into the hands of M1 Righty, Pankadlak, M Dorling, M&D Hammer, Obo, Daddy Tonk, Emma Leckie and Jaguar Paw. And David Svat is going to be cursing right now at the timing of that. So a very cheap pit stop just as our drivers make their way round. And that is I think that safety car is due to Spicy DNFing. So sad for Spicy to leave us on their return to GFR. And Spicy joins us in the Twitch, so we know. Well, welcome back, Spicy. Good to have you here. Get a bit more practice in. You were going well. 10th in qualification. That's not bad for your return. We'll see you back here for the next one, but watch along with us as we see out the last 2/3 of this race. Yeah, Spicy, this game is different and also a little bit unpredictable at times. So M1 Righty's in, Pankadelek's in, M Dorling's in, M&D Hammer is in, Oboe is in. The medium runners it's fell right into their hands here. Probably the perfect time for them. Not so much for those who started on hards, but still cheap pit stop. Where is David? David Svat is just coming through now, so they're going to lose a few positions here. They are on relatively fresh hard tyres, but everyone around them is going to be on absolutely brand new ones. David Svat, okay, up to third on those hard tyres. They've certainly got the pace in, no question about that, but the safety car has really opened this up for the rest of the field. It also helps the likes of Ace Pilot, Ryotek, Goat Ghosty, particularly Goat actually. Goat taking the opportunity to pit again, don't blame them. So that'll put these drivers onto the back of the queue, including Yakko, Big Tonk and Jaguar Paul, Mr. Hannes and Emma Leckie all will bunch up now before we go racing again. So those who were struggling perhaps a little bit earlier on have got a bit of a respite. Brings the entire grid back together. Now I just don't want to jump into a driver's chat too quickly, but we may, if any of them don't mind. I'm going to try and stop by Goat if he doesn't mind. He's just coming out of the pits. Maybe I'll wait a moment. Let's go and talk to the Alpine drivers. And actually,
what is this game, honestly, man?
M1 KKE. It's Mark here from the stream.
Yes, how you doing, Southeast? How you doing, man?
It's good to talk to you both. Well, firstly, welcome back, M1. It's really good to have you here.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's good to be back, man. It's been, what, 6 months or so?
I know.
It's been a while, man.
It's been too long. So, and you're doing all right so far. And that safety car came in a pretty decent time.
Yeah. I do have a penalty, though. I don't know. I'll try to see if I can get it removed, but yeah, it's looking okay so far.
Yeah.
I've got a long way to go on these mediums, so.
You certainly have. You certainly have. I think it's worked well for the hard runners, that safety car, but not so much for the mediums. But if anyone can hold on to those, it will be you. So yeah, fingers crossed for you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
KKE, welcome to the league. How are you enjoying your first race?
Really not that good. I've had I've been quite unlucky.
Well, how do you feel about the timing of that safety car? Has that not really worked for you? Is that bad luck?
Oh, I should have stayed out one more lap. I was thinking about it, but I had to.
Nah, that's bad luck, man.
That is really bad luck. Oh, well, that's tough. Well, you're welcome to the league. You're still there in 6th, and you're on those hard tyres. So that'll give you the best chance, and you never know. There might be another safety car along the way. This may not be the end of them.
I'll come back. Don't worry.
All right, I'll let you focus on the race. Thanks for letting me have a quick chat with you, and best of luck for the last few laps.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we're just halfway point, folks, here. So on lap 15, but under the safety car. As our drivers wait for the safety car to come into the pit. So keep an eye on the lights on the safety car to go out. I think that's the first time I've ever got to speak to M1 Righty, so a bit starstruck, I think, to speak to a double champion here at GeForce Racing. And as Spicy's mentioned in the chat, the Tyre Whisperer. This is the place where that whispering needs to be particularly good to get those mediums all the way to the end, but they'll only have 14 more laps to do that in, and with a lower fuel load, if anyone can do it, and then Righty can. But we've seen how strong David Svat is, and very, very quick. So we'll see how they go, but also they are on hard tyres. So M1 Righty will look to pull away as quickly as they can when we get underway. Lights are still on that safety car, so we're not going racing just yet. Looks like there will be one more lap. And this is really playing into the hands of the medium runners. It's really keeping those mediums a lot fresher than they otherwise would be. Very kind, Spicy. It's the one God gave me, so I'll just use it as best I can. This is the one I've got. So we are starting lap 16 under the safety car. Maybe I'll go and drop into one more driver. Let's see if Ghosty will talk to me. There you go. It's Mark here from the stream. Can you hear me?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Very good to talk to you. What's gone on today? It doesn't feel as though you've had the run of luck.
Well, I had wing damage lap 1. Unfortunately, Spicy, little bit of a half spin, and I went straight into the back of him, cut my wing, and decided that I just had to box.
Oh man! And I was so surprised to see you out in Q2 as well.
Yeah, just couldn't get the lap right. The track limits, as everyone's been saying, just horrible. I invalidated lap. Well, I did the first lap on old tyres, thinking I'd be able to set another 2 laps. I invalidated the first lap I went on, and then the last lap I invalidated like second to last corner. So yeah, very surprised.
Oh well. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you for the end of the race. I think the safety cars perhaps played into your hands a little bit, brought you a bit closer together.
Not even a little bit. Definitely brought my race back, and points may be on.
Yeah, well,
I'm just hoping these mediums fall off a cliff.
Another victory here might be a tough ask, but I wouldn't put it past you. So I wish you well. Thanks for talking to me, and we'll hopefully get underway with racing very, very shortly. But go well.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Take care, mate. Well, there we go. I hope you're enjoying these little drivers' chats. I know I am, because I don't often get a chance to actually speak to them in the context of a race. It's usually afterwards. So the safety car is in this lap, so I timed that just right. So it's not quite gone the way Ghosty would like, as they hope to retain their championship lead here. But we're going to find out if they can make progress up from 15th. Now, they currently are, and make their way through the field. They're on those hard tyres, but M1 Righty is going to lead us away. So we've got to see, when is M1 going to go? This drag down the start-finish straight is so long. They've got to time this right, because they're just going to get swallowed up. Look for carnage into lap 1, folks. This is going to be hear 'em, scare 'em. So M1 Righty's gone, as he leads the field away as we get back under green flag racing as we start lap 17. Looks as though M. Dorling's got a great jump on David Sviat there, looking to try and find a way through on the Mercedes, but backs out of that and doesn't make a lunge for it into turn 1. Let's get back down to a few others as they go through. Looks pretty clean from everyone else. Everyone made it through safely. Big Tonk having a battle there with Rytech Gamer as they came into turn 2. Oh, and there's contact between Rytech Gamer and Big Tonk. And so both cars going a little bit sideways. That's sending Rytech off into the gravel as well. Inevitable that we'd see a little bit of a coming together there, but Rytech definitely lost out on those soft tyres, and that's probably the last thing they wanted in order to get the most out of those soft tyres. But they would definitely have to pit anyway. So many penalties out there, folks. We'll take a look at those in just a few moments' time. Let's get it back up to the front. Where is Go? He's up to 13th already, so he's made up a position. Daddy Tonk picking up a 3-second penalty. Look, keep an eye on those folks with no penalties. Pankadlek, M. Dorling, KKE, Obo, Jaguar Paul, Yakub, Mr. Hannes, and Go. They're the ones who could potentially benefit. Potentially now, all of these drivers are so close together. David Svat gets another 3-second penalty, so it's not working out for them after a very, very strong start to this race. M1 Righty sets the fastest lap of 1:24.309 as KKE goes through on M&D Hammer into 5th place. There's a battle going on behind them between Jaguar Paul and Jakub. Jakub trying to get through on Jaguar Paul, looking to make up ground from an unexpected or unplanned pit stop earlier on, looking to be some contact between them and M&D Hammer. So Jakub up into 8th, Jaguar Paul dropping back down into 10th now, or trying to. Daddy Tonk thinking that they'll find a way through on the Williams drivers. They go wheel to wheel now down into turn 4 there. Turn 6. And Emma Leckie really taking advantage, getting through on Jaguar Paw and trying to go round the outside of Daddy Tonk. Very ambitious move by the Red Bull. They might have to give way here now. That's a bit, not enough room for Emma Leckie to make it their way through and drop back into 11th. Great battling there between the Ferrari Williams and the Red Bull. Now a gap back, 1.6 seconds to Emma Leckie in 12th. Who's now coming under pressure from Goat Ghosty, looking to recover, as we were talking to about under the safety car there. Mr. Hannah is starting to lose grip as they come through that corner. Goat Ghosty closing them down. We'll have DRS, and I dare say Mr. Hannes will have no defence at all. Pankerdelec's clearly got some pace, 124.187 in the DRS of M1 Righty, and Pankerdelec takes the lead of this race. They already kind of had the lead anyway, with M1 Righty having a 3-second time penalty, but that puts the Williams in first place. Goat Ghosty through on, doesn't go through on Mr. Hannes. So Mr. Hannes had a very good exit there. Maybe Goat trying to charge up their battery and move through. Let's get back up to the sharp end of the grid, the top 10 here. So we're with Obo on the rear end of M&D Hammer, and M&D Hammer really not getting up, was not moving as quickly as we thought they might do. Maybe struggling to switch on those hard tyres perhaps. Obo's definitely got some pace on those mediums, but needs to make it pay on lap 19 before they start going off, and we've seen them go off very, very quickly. Jacob picks up 3 seconds. Right, we're on lap 19. It's time to look at penalties again, folks. Oh, we're into double figures for Daddy Tonk. 12 seconds for Daddy Tonk. Who's on 9? We've got Ace Pilot, Emma Leckie on 9 seconds each. And on 6 seconds, David Savat. That's going to push them right back on the finishing order here if it stays as it is and these cars so close together. Then everyone else with 3 seconds. M1 Righty, M&D Hammer. That's a very, very wide Williams, I think, in the background there. Jacob. Oh, and again from that was the Mercedes of Jacob. Wonder if they got a little bit of damage with pushing super, super hard to try and stay with the Aston Martin. And Jacob looks down the inside. That was a late move from Jacob on Obo. Hits the side of the Williams, but Jacob is currently through up into 7th place, but a very late move there from Jacob. And they're all now hunting down M&D Hammer, who is also now after KKE in the Alpine. So a bit of a gap now. M. Dorling in 4th, David Savat in 3rd, Pankerdelec in 2nd, and M1 Righty back in the lead on track at least on lap 20. But a big gap opens up between the top 4. Looking like it could be a very good day for Pankerdelec and M. Dorling. So M. Dorling having their work cancelled may pay off for Aston Martin very, very well in their second job here, driving for Aston Martin. M&D Hammer's dropped out of DRS from KKE very briefly, but is back in within that 1 second range. As we start, or just about to start, lap 21. Let's get up to the front and we'll see if the lead changes one more time. M1 Righty is under pressure now from David Savat, but M1 Righty's also got the tow from their teammate in front. Let's ride on board, get a front row seat as David Savat looks down the inside of Pankerdelec, follows M1 Righty through into 2nd place. Pankerdelec drops back in behind. Pankerdelec does not need to fight it, but they have to be aware of M. Dorling, who's right behind them. So M. Dorling will not waste an opportunity to get through on Pankerdelec, and that could be victory for them. We've got 8 more laps to go after this one, folks, so this will be over before we know it. KKE is really starting to struggle, it would seem, dropping off the back of M. Dorling. M&D Hammer not really pressurising them at this point. Obo is back through, but it does look as Jakob is into the pits onto soft tyres, and they're going to go for fastest lap and probably a few positions. Goat Ghosty is now up into 11th, 1 more position before they are into the point. So after a pretty awful start to their race, is gradually closing in. We've got another yellow flag, sector 1, that is back up and running. That was Big Tonk. Briefly had a moment coming through turn 6. Always get those ones mixed up for some reason. So Big Tonk recovered from that. 3 seconds for Jaguar Paw. So Mr. Hannes, Goat Ghosty, Obo, KKE, M. Dorling and Pankerdelec, the only drivers with no penalties. If they can stay close to the drivers in front, they'll be up in the points and getting some big points for that as well. Fastest lap of the race so far, 124.053. That currently goes to M. Dorling. So it looks like a good day so far for Aston Martin, running in 4th and 7th at the moment. Not a bad day for Alpine either. Now, do we start seeing on lap 8 the medium tyres starting to drop off? Keep an eye on that gap between KKE and M. Dorling. It was out at 3 seconds. That's closed down now to 2 seconds. Daddy Tonk picks up another 3-second time penalty. We'll take one more look at those. We'll probably have that up on the screen before we actually finish the race. Rytec Gamer also onto soft tyres now, going for that fastest lap. And a DNF for Jakob. So after some very, very strong performances the last couple of rounds, that's no points at all for the Mercedes driver. So Jakob is out. That's a real surprise, but it was starting to go backwards for Jakob. They are out on lap 22. 3-second time penalty for M&D Hammer. We've got 7 more laps to go. M. Dorling looking very strong. And Desaves in the Twitch chat, obviously not happy with track limit penalties. It's really put paid to any sort of points score today for them. So not the best day for them, but it's working out well for Pankadelek right now. And M. Dorling currently would be 1st and 2nd on the podium. And it may bring Obo into play if they can get through on KKE. We'll take a look at the penalties before we finish. We'll try and do some maths. Emeleki picks up 3 seconds. They've been pretty tidy today, Emeleki, by their normal standards. Emeleki was our track limit penalties king for a while. Not so much these days. But Emeleki moving up into 8th as well. So we'll drop down to Obo very briefly. They're sticking with KKE, who's trying to close down on M. Dorling. Obo playing it smart, I think. And they've got a gap now to Jaguar Paul, 1.5 seconds, who's recovered well from that battling earlier on we were watching. And they're up into 7th. So again, very consistent drive from Jaguar Paul. The kind of driver I do like to watch. Emma Leckie, they're in 8th. But it has Daddy Tonk right behind them. Daddy Tonk has not given up. They've got a bucket load of penalties, of course. But on track, they are in 9th. So good pace from them today. It's just the track limit penalties will hurt them. Here comes Hannes and here comes Goat Ghosty. So it's starting. This race is coming towards Hannes and Goat. Now, does Hannes fight Goat here? Or do they let them go and perhaps follow them through? Daddy Tonk is through on Emeleki. So Daddy Tonk moves up to 8th on track. Mr. Hannes follows them through into 9th. So Mr. Hannes is through on Emeleki. Goat will be looking to move through on them pretty quickly as well. 5 laps to go. Time to get your calculators out, folks. Let's bring up the penalties. So 9 seconds now for David Svat. Based on the current running order, my best guess is going to put them back around about 8th position. I think that's really going to hurt the Mercedes driver, and it's not a turnout. It's good. Oh, and that was Goat Ghosty going sideways into the wall out of turn 6, that infamous turn 6. So whereas it was going so well, they pushed too hard, got a bit too close. You guys probably saw it better than I did as I was looking at my calculator. So Goat has to recover again. They've lost 8 seconds to Emeleki, and we'll have to do all that hard work again. So Mr. Hannes now sitting pretty well. So as we were saying, David Svat is going to drop back to around about, my guess, 8th place here. Daddy Tonk is going to drop from 8th all the way back probably to about 11th or 12th, I should say. 11th. Mr. Hannes, well, certainly, let's do this reverse order. M. Dorling's going to go to 2nd. Obo, are they going to get... They're definitely going to get 4th. They may get 3rd. But they've got a bit of work to do. I don't think they would. They'd have 4th, though, at this stage. Jaguar Port, not going to benefit too much. Daddy Tonk, as we say, is going to drop right back. But Mr. Hannes is really going to shoot up this table at a rate of knots with no penalties. So keep it clean, Hannes. Plenty of laps still to go. Another 4 more after this one.
Because some of our drivers need to keep it clean, and they are going to do very, very well here. Let's get back to the main race at the front here between Pankadalek and David and M1 Righty and M. Dorling, who have continued to maintain that 3-second gap pretty much now to KKE. Credit to KKE, very good performance on their first time out with G-Force Racing. Gives us an idea of where their level is at and where they fit in. But bear in mind, they are up against a 2-time champion in M1 Righty, who gave us some incredible battles with SHS Predestinato, SS7 and many others in previous seasons. And we've also got Haaland to return in a race or two's time as well. Don't go anywhere, folks. We get them together with Goat Ghosty and a few others. This is going to be an absolute cracker of the second half of the season. I was distracted a little bit there by some chat in the driver's chat on Discord. We might revisit that a little bit later. Obo is dropping back a little bit from KKE here, so those mediums clearly going off. 12 laps in. Just need to nurse those to the end. We'll see if we can get an indication from the drivers as what that pace is like. Although it's not bothering M&D Hammer, 123.891 on mediums. So M&D Hammer's still got some pace. Oh, they're brand new. Okay, they've been into the pits. So M&D Hammer looking to recover, and they were not going to take their tyres all the way to the end. They've also got to finish in the top 10 to make that fastest lap point count. So at the moment they are finishing outside the points, albeit there's a lot of people with penalties around them, so who knows where they're going to finish. M. Dorling, I think, has potentially given up their battle for anything better than second, but maybe not, because M1 Righty David Svat are continuing to fight with Pankadalek. So maybe they're thinking they can move ahead. Goat does eventually pick up a 3-second penalty for those track limit warnings, and I think Goat has created a yellow flag in sector 3, just around the entrance to turn 16 there. So the battle's not dying down at the front. Pankadalek and David Svat fighting it out for the lead on track. M1 Righty is in the mix there, and M. Dorling's just sitting behind and watching it all happen. Maybe it's smart just to hang back there and see if the victory comes to them. But you wouldn't want to get in that mix and cause any issues for sure, I dare say. Fastest lap for M&D Hammer again. They're getting faster and faster. Those new tyres working very, very well for them. 2 more laps to go after this one, folks, and we may well have a new winner for G-Force Racing. I don't think Pankadalek has won a feature race yet. They've won a sprint race, I think. They've won the feature race. So it's going very, very well for the Williams driver here. Going a bit further down the grid, Emma Leckie is in 10th, the last points position. They have a time penalty, but there's a lot of... as I say that, they had another time penalty there. Let's have another look. 15 seconds for Emma Leckie. Sadly, I don't think they're going to be finishing in the points, but 10th on track at least, as I see them just go a bit wide beyond track limits one more time. So Mr. Hannes still keeping it clean there in 9th. Ace Pilot's still going, as is Big Tonk. Let's head down to them. So Ace has an 18-second time penalty, but still going in 15th. So well done, Toby, for keeping it out there on track. Most of your front wing is there, most of it. If we come up to Big Tonk for their first outing with G-Force Racing, also missing a bit of front wing there as well. Won't be helping their grip, but only has 3 seconds on of time penalties, so at least they're staying within track limits. So good work from them on their first outing with us. That's certainly nothing to be ashamed of, and they won't be last at this rate. Riotech Gamer, their first visit to us in 13th on track right now. Then M&D Hammer, after what was looking like a very promising start, coming together with Jakob, may have had something to say as to why they are where they are now on track, but had some very good early pace, just couldn't keep it going. The day has not worked out for Ghost, but at this rate they might at least get a point. We'll see. Pankadalek picks up 3 seconds. Oh, well, hello, Matt Dorling. This is really played into the hands of the Aston Martin driver on the very, very last lap.
So M. Dorling there, it currently 4th on track, is going to win this race. If they just stay within track limits, they can leave David Savat, M1 Righty and Pankadelek fight it out at the front. But at this rate, M. Dorling is going to win the round 5 of the G-Force Racing League Season 4 race here in Qatar. Superb driving from M. Dorling and clean driving ultimately is going to bring victory to Aston Martin. What a return to GFR for M. Dorling. This could be, well, this was a real turn up for the books. I honestly didn't see this occurring. I thought Pankadelek would keep it clean enough to all the way to the end. Such a consistent driver normally. So, but M. Dorling's probably got a huge grin, but they've got to keep focused for these final corners. They've got 5 corners left to go. I don't know how many track limit warnings they have, but they've just got to keep it there. Stay within a second or two of the 3 cars in front, and this is going to be, as M1 Righty picks up another 3 seconds, that's going to put M1 Righty possibly off the podium, we'll see. But M. Dorling is going to come over the line to win in Qatar. Congratulations, M. Dorling and Aston Martin. Victory for you. Pankadelek takes second. M1 Righty takes third on the podium, a return to the podium for our double champion. Obo nearly, just under 4/10 off the podium. Great drive by Obo. KKE, welcome to the league. 5th for you. Not a bad drive at all. And I know you were, as we spoke in the chat earlier, a bit of a tough race at various times, but good 5th place finish. David Svat, after all those penalties, sadly drops them back into 6th. Jaguar, great drive again, solid midfield, but nonetheless 7th place. Mr. Hannes, not a bad drive, benefits from some of those track limit penalties from others, finishes in 8th. Daddy Tonk points on the board once again for Daddy Tonk, and finishing in 9th. And Emma Leckie does get a point, 10th place for them. Our current leader, Goat Ghosty, just misses out on the points, finishes there in 11th. Wow, take a breath, folks. I often say that, but I genuinely mean it. There was so much that went on in that race. Safety car came at a very, very interesting time. The game gives driver of the day to Jaguar. Folks in the Twitch chat, if you're watching along with me, thank you for being here for a start, but let me know in the Twitch chat, who would your driver of the day be? Do you agree it's Jaguar, or who else would you give it to? I'll tell you who I'm going to give it to, and that is going to be M. Dorling. To judge that just perfectly, not get involved, come home, take the 25 points for the win. Superb drive. And their first victory, I don't think it's their first victory with GFR, but certainly their first victory of the season in Season 4. So a great drive from them, and a very, very good day, as we'll see in a moment, as we'll see right now, for Aston Martin. So here's the final classification. M. Dorling is our victor, having started 7th, finishes first here in Qatar, 25 points for them. Pankadelek takes second for Williams. Very good drive for them, and just that last-minute penalty on the last lap meant that they didn't take the overall victory. M1 Righty on their return in 3rd. That completes our podium. Obo in 4th, KKE in 5th. David Svat on their debut takes 6th after a very strong drive, but track limit penalties really, really hurting them. What a cracking race. So, say, folks, let me know in the chat before we close out who your driver of the day is. And as I say, certainly M. Dorling is for me. And why don't we take the opportunity to see if we can have a quick word with our victor, because I see they're still on the chat here. So I'm going to just jump into the Aston Martin garage. Well, I've got to come in this garage, clearly, after that race.
Hola. Yeah, that Mark guy, what a silly bugger. Oh, sorry, he's here, sorry.
Well, live on stream, oh dear.
Live on stream, the victor, the winner, the champion of Qatar. Congratulations, M. Dorling.
Oh, thank you. Very unexpected, I will say, considering I was not supposed to be here in the first place.
Well, no, maybe you should plan it that way normally.
I did about 10 minutes on time trial before starting, and lucked into that one, I think. Got it right with the insights. Track limits played a huge part.
And then we loaded into quali, and he goes, "Owen, can you give me that setup, please?" He didn't even have a setup.
Oh well, that's team play, Obo. That is definitely team play. I'll give you that. How were those tyres at the end? Because you were both, I think, on mediums at the end. Was there anything left of them?
Absolutely fine for me.
Oh, good.
They were doing okay.
Yeah, The hards were very, very slippery. Very, very slippery. Mediums were much, much better, in my opinion.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, I'm glad I could stop. I could stop by, and I also see SS7. Is there SS7? You on audio?
I am, yes.
So we'll hopefully get you back, and we'll get you back scoring again. But did you enjoy watching for a change?
It was very good watching it live for the first time. I think with that amount of drivers as well, it was very, very good.
And did the chats with the drivers work? I mean, from a driver's perspective, was it intrusive for me to come in and say hi, or was it okay?
I loved it. I think it was really good. Genuinely, I really like you can go into the garages and then just see how the other teams are talking about it and stuff.
100% worked. 100%. Not intrusive at all.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was actually nice to talk to a few people. As I mentioned on the stream.
Thank you very much, Mark.
I felt a bit starstruck talking to M1 Righty though. So.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, boys. I shall let you go. Well done again today. Great drive. And we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you, Mark.
See you later.
Stream.
Cheers, guys. I've now got to find out how to get out of this one. Maybe it's just the Aston Martin garage. They don't let me out. There we go. Once you go into the Aston Martin garage, they just apply you with beer and stuff, so you've got to stick around. Anyway, so that was Qatar. I hope you enjoyed your time with us today. My huge thanks to all the drivers for taking part and giving us a fantastic round of racing. And we will go again next week. And where will we be next week as we approach Christmas? Well, just before Christmas, we're heading off to Belgium. My favourite track of the calendar is Spa in Belgium. So I'm very much looking forward to next week. A different skill set required for Belgium, very different to the way in which you drive Qatar. We've got some very long straights and some twisty sections, and then the infamous bus stop chicane, and I dare say, and as well as the infamous turn one, which has taken a few drivers by surprise in the past. So very much looking forward to Belgium next week, and very much hope you can come and join us. So got Keiki back in the Twitch chat with us. Well, thank you for taking part. I know it was a bit of a tough race, but I think fifth you finished, so not bad for your first time out with the G-Force Racing drivers. Very, very impressive debut. All right, well, let me close by saying once again, thank you to all our drivers, amazing racing, and for letting me come into their garages throughout the race to say hi and get their insights to what's going on. To M. Dorling, both for the victory today, but also M. Dorling's GFR Digest. You've got a separate, if you'd like to watch that again, head over to the YouTube channel. There's a separate episode for this week for you to watch. And last but by no means least, thank you to all of you for watching. It's a lot of fun to do. We've had loads of people on the chat today. Welcome back to so many of our previous drivers, but also a lot of new faces. And for all of you for getting involved and supporting your favourite driver. Until next week, have a great week ahead. Look after yourselves, and we'll see you in Belgium for round 6 at Spa. Until then, stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.